Hi there, Old and Surly here. Today we're going to talk about another classic set from 2009. This is set 8017, the Darth Vader Advanced TIE Fighter. I'm going to give you my quick thoughts on the build and the overall quality. So overall, I have to say, despite the age of this particular set being over 14 years old and being 10 years into the actual line of LEGO Star Wars theme, it's actually a very fun build. And it doesn't suffer from a lot of the flaws that a lot of the earlier builds suffered from. Number one, as you can see, it doesn't suffer from some of those very horrible color themes that for some reason were being used by the LEGO Star Wars themes. Gone is all of the blue from the earlier TIE builds, and now you go back into that more traditional dark gray, light gray, and black that we're familiar with. And in the case of the Darth Vader TIE Fighter, you can see that there is a little bit more of a majority of black in there. That really suits it to the actual film that we're all used to seeing. Another thing I liked about this set is it only had 4 stickers. It has 1 on each of the panels and then 2 on the top. All the other remaining pieces are printed, and I kind of wish LEGO would learn from this and go back to that in some of the cases of some of the sets we're seeing now where stickers have kind of started to run rampant. But I love that. They are still using at this point in the theme these larger cockpit pieces that we see here, and the cockpits are continuing to still be fairly bland at this point, although to be fair, they're not exactly robust in even the modern sets. It does come with a Darth Vader figure, a little bit more of the simpler design than what we're used to seeing now. Obviously, they weren't doing a lot of the ink stamping and things like that on there, but it's a great example, and I love it, and it fits fine even with the vinyl cape that comes with it. One thing I do like about this set, though, and it was something that I wish some of the newer sets would even consider doing, is it has a little Easter egg on the bottom that you can actually capture his lightsaber and store it away. So I thought that was just a nice little fun Easter egg that they included in there. It's kind of a nice little happy surprise at the end. But speaking of the instructions, I have to say I do not miss having to deal with these instructions on modern sets. As you can see here, at this point in the game, they were not putting the nice little box at the top, letting you know what pieces were going to be used in the next step, and helping you identify exactly where they were on the pictures. It's almost a detective game to figure out exactly what you're looking at, how many pieces go on there, and where they go each step of the way. So I would say it adds probably 50% to the build time, which is about an hour. I mean, it's only 250 pieces overall, but I think most of that time was just spent staring at the instructions and trying to figure out what pieces were needed and where they went on the particular steps. And in some cases where you're combining multiple pieces, I'm like, holy Toledo, this is going to be a while, especially with old eyes. But again, it wasn't a hard build at all. It doesn't use the traditional flick fires of the modern sets. Instead, it uses these 2 reset flick missiles that are actually actuated with a push rod through a Technic hole, which is a pretty smart way of doing it. It blends very well with the overall design of the fighter, and I think that this allows that playability without having to do any modifications to make it a very nice display piece. The only thing I would say is a little bit of a drawback is, as you can see here, when you shake it, it's still suffering from the loose panels for the wings. Again, just based on the limited availability of certain Technic pieces and the limitations of earlier build and design features. So, but they're far better than they were on the TIE Interceptor that I previously reviewed. So it is starting to slowly evolve into the sets that we're used to seeing. Another thing I like about it is the scale. As you can see in the background, I've got the modern 2023 TIE Bomber, and I've got the most recent version of the TIE Fighter, and it scales perfectly with them. So it almost starts to feel like those mid to late 2000s and into the 2015, 2017 Solo movie, that they were a little bit oversized, and I think they kind of realized that, and I don't know if it was a financial decision or what, but they went back to this scale, which allows some of these older sets to blend very well with the modern sets. So instead of having to design maybe a new Darth Vader TIE, you could pick this one up on the secondary market, which is kind of another thing I like about this. It retailed originally for the 2 years it was on the shelf in 2009 and 2010 for about $30. If you go on Bricklink and do some price searching, you can find these used for around $50. So it's not much of a price jump given the 10 plus years that it's been off the market. And even new in box, you're still talking about 100 to 150, which compared to paying $65 for a brand new tie bomber, it's not exactly a huge ask to pick this up on the secondary market, which is kind of rare, especially for something that I consider one of those more trademark vehicles that we're all used to seeing in the movies and kind of grew up with. So I give that a positive in my mind. But overall, this was a very fun build. As I mentioned, 251 pieces is not a long build. It's just that the patience is tested a little bit as you're trying to decipher the instructions, but not a major thing to worry about. It displays very well, has the classic playability that we all want for our younger fans, and you don't have to worry about it falling apart like you sometimes do with those, older sets that we've seen. I think this would be a great addition to anybody's TIE Fighter collection or just their Star Wars collection in general. I'm always happy to share information, so if anybody would like additional photos or needs some video of any particular things or just has a few questions about this set, I'd be happy to answer them. Feel free to reach out and I'll answer as soon as I can. Again, thanks for watching. This is Old and Surly saying please keep building. Have a great day.